Sports Day is brought to you by Barton Community College. Explore your future and get started now. Visit gobarton.com.
Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
Ralphie clubs one in the air to center. Isbell goes back. It is gone! Absolutely crushed by Devers.
See who that hit? Did you see who that hit?
You know, you look over these 3 games, those guys pitch their butts off. You know, I mean, there's 2 teams out there trying to execute. Their pitchers did a heck of a job. I mean, you're not going to walk over those guys. They know how to pitch. Those are veteran guys with good stuff.
A lot of improvement at first base, and, you know, it's kind of a weird thing to say, but because he was a two-way guy, he didn't spend a lot of time working on his defense. They were protecting his arm, so he's really improved defensively at first base, but we've also played him in the outfield.
3-2 hung a breaking ball. Fernando hit it high and deep to left. Beck is at the wall. This one gonna go. Big mistake for the big guy. A 3-1 homer for Tatis.
A lot of different emotions right now. You know, I've been with Freddie and Red my entire career up to this point. Manager, bench coach, both great guys. Got nothing but great things to say about them. They've been in my corner.
Tonight is one of the most embarrassing games that I have ever seen of a team that I root for. Back to the basket, draws 2 defenders, gives it up top, Brown trickling away, and good! Christian Brown, 66-61 Denver, he's got 17 points. He swings and he gets into one, sending it deep into left center field, back to the wall, it's a gunner! A home run for Contreras leading off the second. Schwarber clubs one, deep to right center field, Martinez back, it's out of here! 2 home runs tonight for Kyle Schwarber, he's knocked in all 3, and Philadelphia leads 3-0.
And good afternoon. Welcome to Sports Day here on 1590 KVGB 95.5 FM, the talk of the town. Here we go. Monday Sports Day program on KVGB. Just heard some of the sounds of the weekend. We'll go through those coming up in just a moment. On the show today, well, it's go time right now for the Barton Baseball Cougars. Here we go. Tournament starts tomorrow, Region 6 tournament, after they had the best 2 of 3 series last week. Barton waltzed through that with a 2-0 series sweep of Neosho. Now they open play tomorrow against Coffeyville at 4 o'clock, Dean Evans Stadium in Salina. The Cougars are the number 1 seed, and they'll start their journey tomorrow. We'll talk all about it with the head coach of the Barton Cougars, Brent Biggs, who will join us on the show. Week to go in the high school softball and baseball seasons. Big week for the Great Bend Panther baseball and softball teams. They've still got some business to take care of before they can lay claim to hosting a 5A regional out at the Great Bend Sports Complex next week. We'll talk about that, plus some of the other regionals, possibilities for all area teams, and all the other prep sports. Jim Mazunas of the Great Bend Tribune will be in. And normally on Mondays, we talk track and field with Great Bend Panther track and field coach Lyles Lashley. But he is a unique guy, a very talented guy. Okay, he's not only a Hall of Fame track and field coach at the collegiate level, will be at the high school level. He's a noted Cajun chef, runs his own business out of a trailer. And he's also a math teacher. And at this time of year, if you're a teacher, you go on a lot of field trips. So Lyles Lashley accompanying his students today to Hayes at the Sternberg Museum. So instead of talking track and field today, he's going to talk about dinosaurs, a deep ocean over where we live right now. He will be back to join us on Wednesday. So we'll get an update on dinosaurs, track, and field with the world-renowned Cajun chef Lyles Lashley in his place today. A lot of things happening over baseball over the weekend this weekend. Baseball Tonight podcast, hot off the press with Buster Olney. We'll run a few things there. Let's see, Rafael Devers, well, we'll get to him in just a moment. Rockies fire their manager, Bud Black. Pirates getting a new manager. So they'll kind of cover it all with a review of the baseball weekend on the Buster Olney podcast that we will bring you part of here today. Let's get to our sounds the past 24 hours or so. Speaking of Rafael Devers, $313 million contract, something like that. But anyway, he had a long home run yesterday, a really long home run, 440-foot home run, 2-run blast to center field. That gave the Red Sox a 3-1 lead top of the 6th inning, and that would end up being the final score. Boston takes 2 of 3 from the streaking Royals, slowing them down a bit at Kauffman Stadium. So Devers starting at designated hitter. That's 2 days after Red Sox owner John Henry flew to Kansas City to meet with Devers, who has refused to play first base, following up his 4-for-4 performance on Saturday at that monster home run. Rafael Devers will have more on that on the Buster Olney podcast coming up a little bit. Their view's kind of the same way with me. What? You can't play first base when they need you? They don't have anybody else to play there right now because their regular first baseman is hurt. But Devers just going out, and he's disgruntled, but he's a productive disgruntled player. Matt Quatrero, his team scored 4 runs in 3 weekend games. Talking about the Boston pitching, which was quite good. But offense continues to be a consistent problem for the Royals, who are still right in the thick of the American League Central race and doing quite well. You look at the records overall in Major League Baseball right now. They're still 2.5 games behind the Tigers. They also lost yesterday. They're tied with Cleveland. Minnesota's starting to make up some ground right now in the Central. Could we say it, the American League Central, the best division in the American League? So far it has been. Royals beginning a brief 3-game road trip to Houston tonight. They'll take on the Astros. We'll have it for you here on KVGB starting at 6:30. Royals will play 3 in Houston. They'll get Thursday off and then back to take on the streaking St. Louis Cardinals starting on Friday for a weekend series. J.J. Piccolo on the Royals pregame show yesterday. Well, when you have an offensive inconsistencies like the Royals are right now, everyone wants to know about the wonderkin, the savior. Talking about Jack Caglione, who's having a pretty good year at Double-A, Northwest Arkansas, hitting .315 going into yesterday, had 9 home runs, 37 RBIs, and J.J. Piccolo says, yeah, I've heard a few people asking about Jack Caglione, and they have worked him at outfield a bit, more at first base than the outfield, but you have Vinny Pasquantino at first base. And he'll be the designated hitter if Salvi's not catching, and you have Salvador Perez there. So if he does come up, if he keeps hitting like that, he's going to force his way in the lineup somewhere. Whether it's outfield, first base, he maybe puts Vinny sitting on the bench, although Vinny's been hitting the ball a little bit better. But Piccolo talking about, they're watching him, and we'll see. I didn't think Caglione would be up. I thought he'd struggle a little bit more when he went to Double-A for the face. That hasn't been a problem at all. 9 home runs, 37 RBIs. And J.J. Piccolo talking about on the Royals pregame broadcast yesterday. You heard a call from Fernando Tatis. You want to know what San Diego Padres highlight? Well, it came in Colorado Saturday night. It was a 3-run homer. Came in the 5th inning of the Padres game with the Rockies. And that home run at the time, this was in the 6th inning, the 6th inning of the game, and it put the Padres up 18-0. Heck, they weren't done. They'd score 3 more runs. They beat the Rockies 21-0. Well, the fallout didn't come after the game. It came after the game yesterday, which oddly was a win by the Rockies. Their 7th win of the season. It was a 9-3 win over San Diego, but that was the last game for manager Bud Black, the winningest manager in franchise history, and he just got caught in this mountain slide, that's taken him with him. Also, it took their bench boss with them, or their assistant bench coach, Mike Redmond. Kyle Freeland talking about that. Freeland came up in the Rockies. Rockies used to have a pretty good minor league farm system, but not so much anymore. And they were chanting "Sell the team" yesterday, Coors Field. So the Rockies will now have, let's see, Warren Schaefer is going to be the interim manager. He was yesterday. And hitting coach Clint Hurdle takes over as interim bench coach. Rockies have the worst 40-game start since the 1988 Baltimore Orioles. Mike Fontana, ESPN radio host, Cleveland sports fan, saying he has never been embarrassed more by a team that he roots for. Because I started to think, well, he could be a Rockies fan today, but he's a Cleveland guy. Well, embarrassed by his team because the Cleveland Cavaliers, the top-seeded team in the East, the NBA playoffs, got beat yesterday, 129-109, and you give them credit for that because they trailed by 41 points at halftime. And Indiana now on the verge of winning that first-round Eastern Conference series. They're up 3-1 now on the number one seed or the second-round NBA series. Call yesterday over the weekend in Denver as former KU Jayhawk Christian Brown hit a jump shot, a three-pointer in fact, and it put Denver up 66-61 on Oklahoma City, but the Thunder finally outplayed Denver in crunch time. They beat the Nuggets 92-87 yesterday to knot their second-round series at 2 games each. And some baseball highlights. Call on KMOX, Wilson Contreras hitting a home run. That gave the Cardinals a 2-0 lead over the Nationals. St. Louis goes on to beat the Nationals 6-1 to complete a 3-game sweep. Cardinals swept back-to-back series during an 8-game winning streak. That's their longest since August of 22. And now they're 1 game behind the Cubs in the NL Central. And last night on Sunday Night Baseball, right here on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM, Kyle Schwarber, that was his second home run of the day, of the night, and the Phillies end up beating the Guardians by the score of 3-0. Quick rundown of the standings right now in the American League. Mentioned Detroit, 2.5-game lead over Kansas City and Cleveland. Minnesota's righted their ship. They're hot right now. They've got back up above the 500 mark. They're 5 games back. American League West, Seattle by 2 games over Houston and the Sacramento Athletics. In the East, the Yankees by 2 over the Red Sox, who got 2 or 3 from KC. National League Central, Cubs at 23-18 lead the Cardinals by a game. Milwaukee's 3 back. National League East, the Mets by a game and a half over Philadelphia. Atlanta still trying to find their way. They fought back yesterday, tied the game 3-3 against Pittsburgh, the team that just fired their manager. They brought in Raciel Iglesias, and he struggled this year. They're gun out of the bullpen, and he got lit up yesterday, so the Pirates got that game against the Braves, so Atlanta's still 6.5 back. And out west, the Dodgers leading San Diego by a game, San Francisco by 3. We're going to talk high school baseball with Jim Mizunas coming up. Great Bend baseball team split their 2 games in McPherson. On Friday, they beat Junction City 5-3 in the first game of that quad. And then McPherson, who beat Newton in their game, they played Great Bend in a rematch of a game the Panthers won back in April 15-0. Great Bend got shut out 5-0. They lose to McPherson. Same story for the Great Bend Lady Panthers. I was looking forward to that matchup, seeing Great Bend getting a rematch with undefeated McPherson. McPherson, who had beat the Lady Panthers 11-5 back in April at a quad in McPherson. But that game didn't happen because Great Bend fell to Newton 13-8 in the first game. They did come back to beat Junction City 10-0. So the Lady Panthers softball team, they need to take care of business. They have 2 games against Newton here in Great Bend on Thursday. Newton, the team that beat them on Friday. They need both those games to secure a regional tournament here in Great Bend. Same goes for the baseball Panthers. They are now 17-5, but it's getting a little tight, and they've got a big week coming up. They have 2 against Manhattan, who is right now the number 2 team in 6A West. They've lost 4 games, and they swept through the Diamond Classic in Hayes with 4 wins over the weekend. They're here in Great Bend for 2 on Wednesday. Great Bend 17-5. Then they close the season at Garden City to close out Western Athletic Conference play, and hopefully they'd still get a chance to get a piece of the Western Athletic Conference title because Hayes still has 1 game left. Hayes is 10-1, Great Bend 8-2, but if Hayes would trip up down in Liberal on Thursday, Great Bend could sweep Garden City and get a piece of the Western Athletic Conference title. So there you go, sounds of the weekend, setting the stage. We'll talk Panther baseball, softball, other things with Jim Mizunas. But coming up next, Barton Cougar baseball. They start the 18 tournament, Region 6 tournament tomorrow in Salina, Dean Evans Stadium. We'll talk all about it with Brent Biggs. Coming up after this on Sports Day, that's brought to you in part by the American Plains Co-op Bulk Fuel Department. Featuring number 2 Clear Diesel, bulk fuel, E10, fuel delivery, all your lubricants and fuel supplies. C&E Doors, your full-service garage door company. Follow the orange sign south of 10th and Harrison. And Equity Bank, here when you need them. Bank local, save big, in-person banking, business banking. Visit equitybank.com for more information. Sports Day rolling on after this.
This is Hadley.
Hadley, what's going on? I've been trying to call you for the past half hour.
Well, Papa, ever since you started this big sale, the phones have been like crazy.
That's a good thing, Hadley. And didn't I ask you to name the sale?
I did. It's a sale. It's so good you won't believe it.
Oh, Hadley, it is so good you won't believe it.
C&E Doors is offering steel on both sides 9x7 white doors for the same price as vinyl backliner doors. Call today.
High school seniors, get ready for what's next. Barton Community College enrollment days are back, and you can get everything set for this fall in just one day. Meet with advisors, pick your classes, tour campus, and more. No stress and no hassle, just your future ready to roll. Don't miss out, spots fill up fast. Register now through July 22nd. Visit enroll.bartonccc.edu today, where your future starts now.
If you're needing a healthcare plan for your business, let the experienced and dedicated staff at Freedom Claims Management Incorporated customize a health insurance plan that fits your business's need. Regardless if you're a large corporation or a small business on Main Street, Freedom Claims Management Incorporated can help you provide your employees with great health coverage at an affordable cost. Visit freedomclaimse.com where you can schedule a free, no obligation health assessment today. Freedom Claims Management Incorporated in Great Bend.
It's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
Yeah, Sports Day also brought to you by Great Bend Rec Commission, dedicated to improving our community and the lives of its individuals. And by the Marmiano Group on 10th Street in Great Bend. Brent Biggs in to talk Barton Cougar baseball and more today. I'd like to get your perspective on different things. I know you've handled this a lot during your coaching career or been on teams where you had a player like this that doesn't want to play first base, just wants to be the DH. Oh, by the way, you're paying him $313 million. I do say this about Rafael Devers. I mean, if you're going to be a clod, and just be, a big problem to, he goes out and backs it up, I guess. You ever been around a player that didn't want to play a position and the coach wanted him to?
Well, everyone just wants a DH, right? They just want to hit, but no, at our level, it hasn't been too bad. Yeah. They just want to find a way on the field for the most part, but I don't know, $350 million, is a lot of money, and he can still go produce, but I still think there's some issues in the clubhouse when your quote-unquote best player refuses to do whatever's best for the team. I know it's a selfish level in the MLB, but I don't know. I just think that stuff like that goes a long ways, both positively and negatively in the clubhouse, which goes a long ways in the success of a lot of those teams.
So if you're core, what do you do? You talk about having the rug pulled out. It'd be like, you see this big 6'6" guy with a flat top walking down the hill behind, here comes Trevor to come up and say, this dude don't want to play, man. That's tough.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And to their credit, he's their $350 million man. He's the face of the franchise. And they told him this fall or during spring that he wasn't going to be their third baseman. You know, where a lot of organizations would have let it ride and, hey, we signed you to play third, and that's what you're going to do. And they seem to be trying to make the organization better. But to their credit, they've, you know, told them, hey, this is what it's going to be. You know, so it'll be interesting to see. They throw him over there one night and see how he responds.
Yeah, but then you know, if you've got some clown on your team, my pop always called it the good donk, bad donk theory. If you were a good donk, you got away with more stuff. So if Devers is going out there and going 0 for 14 in that series over the weekend, it's easier to take a stance, I would think. But he's raking right now.
Yeah, there's different standards sometimes depending on how good you are. So I don't think as coaches we like to think there is, but if you're a good player, you get away with a little bit more every now and then.
Yeah, you sure can. You sure can. All right, Brent Biggs going, and, you know, we're talking about getting this set up today. So just, it's go time now. Here we go, man. Every year at this time, you get ready for a battle that you hope results in more games on the western slope of the Rockies, Brent.
Yeah, you know, like I said before, it was, you know, Grand Junction was just kind of a magical place, you know, and then once you've gone there once, it's like, man, how are we going to get back there? You know, and our regional tournament is such a cool tournament. You know, there's 8 teams, 4 of the 8 are ranked, 2 are in the top 10. You know, Hutchinson was ranked throughout the year. You know, Coffeyville's scrappy. Fort Scott can be. I mean, it's just, I legitimately think where a lot of times it's really top heavy, I think that any one of those 8 teams can win it this year, and that's what makes our league so special.
Is that one of the reasons you went to that best 2 out of 3? I mean, just so you can, because we know in baseball, one thing, you know, one game it can happen, then you're pinned down in the losers bracket and come back up. This kind of like gets, you know, the 8 teams that deserve to be there.
Yeah, and more times than not, I feel like in the last 5 years in this format, the best 8 teams have really made it there. You know, it's baseball, whether you're the 1, whether you're the 16, you run into a good pitcher, or you go in a slump that day, and you never quite know what's going to happen. And anybody can beat anybody in baseball, as you know. And, you know, as in, you know, Cloud County was a 2 seed on the West and, you know, dropped one to Labette and was in a pretty tough battle there in Game 3 for a while. They separated themselves. But a bad day, a bad game, a bad inning, you know, can mean so much. And so the best 2 out of 3, you know, gives you some time to relax a little bit and get on track. And, you know, the best 8 teams are there, I think.
Hesh was able to watch you guys play on Thursday, and that thing he came in. That is like the businessman's approach. Okay, we're a better team. Let's go out and take care of business. And then, because we know that this isn't the thing to get too excited about. It's taking, you know, the first round series. And it seemed like you guys went out and played that way.
Yeah, and you know, I think sometimes you take winning for granted. You know, and we've made it past this first round for a while now, and I mean there was years where it was a struggle just to get, you know, to Wichita or Salina or the second round, and you know you can kind of see over the last 5 or 6 years the transition there, where the first couple of years it was pure excitement and we were fired up, and then this year, and I told the guys this, and I didn't say anything before the game, but afterwards I said the coolest part to me was handshakes, let's go, good job guys, and it's time for the next round.
I want to know, because I wasn't expecting it, but I think you'd just put your head down if you saw them guys jumping on each other on the mound in a dog pile after taking.
Yeah, that would have been it, and I probably would have let them know about it, you know. But that's just kind of their MO. I mean, they're a pretty confident group, you know, and I think they go into it expecting to win. And you know, a lot of these guys they've seen the success, they've seen the dog piles in our clubhouse, you know, because we have a bunch of murals in there, and they know what the expectations are, and anything short of that is unacceptable.
Isn't it nice when you don't have to say a thing?
Yeah, and you know, now, we say it a lot in the fall.
Okay.
We say it a lot early spring, but it really hasn't been talked about, you know, middle of spring to the end of spring. And so it's just, I think that's why we've had a lot of success, is they understand it. They know the standard, and they, for the most part, have gone out and kind of met that standard every day.
First game, you go out, and of course, you in number 1 seed, probably a little bit more pressure on you, and all of a sudden you haven't got a hit, you know. Hey, but the floodgates open all of a sudden.
The first 3 innings, you could cut the tension with a knife. I mean, we were so bad offensively, you know, and it was they threw a guy that he was mixing, and he topped out at 82, 83, and it's like, oh boy, are we going to do this all day? You know, and we finally broke through. We had a good at-bat, and somebody got, I think we scored from first, and we scored a run. It was like, okay, well,
we're going to be all right.
Now it's time to go, you know, and obviously we get the start we got out of Trado, you know, obviously a no-hitter in round 1, but he commanded the strike zone, and we played really good defense throughout the whole day, and, you know, that's where we kind of start is we're going to pitch it, we're going to throw a bunch of strikes, we're going to play really good defense, and I think we have a group offensively that can beat teams a lot of different ways.
You know, if I had problems sleeping at night, you know, it probably is, the last thing I'd think about before I went to bed was, you know, Treto and Miniker. You know, that would make me relax a little bit. I'd get some sleep probably.
Yeah, and you want to know what's going to keep you up at night is the fact that now they're on short rest because we got rained out, and now what are we going to do? So no, we got a good group on the mound, and you know, it's just one of those things that you weigh the options. You know, do we bring them back on short rest, or what are you going to do? So we're still up in the air a little bit.
One of my favorite things of covering the Region 6 tournament, it goes back a long, long way, is that first day decision. I've seen it go both ways. Well, let's see, we're just taking on Pratt. We can get, and then all this, that's always been an easy decision for you, though.
Well, this one's not. Okay. You know, me and Coach McBride have gone back and forth. Okay. But, you know, we don't necessarily, I wouldn't say we have a surefire number one. We have 5 starters that have been really, really good, and they've also had a struggle here and there. And so that's what the hardest thing is it's not necessarily saving one or looking past somebody. It's let's find the best matchup, and because all 5 of them have been good. You know, so it's not necessarily hey, let's save this guy for this team and this guy. It's like, okay, well, these 2 are on short rest. Who's going to give us the best opportunity to win, and let's roll that way. So it's been quite the decision.
So who are you going with?
We'll see. We got practice today, and we'll just, we'll let them throw and see where we're at.
How much do you dig into the matchups now? You know, when you're coming, okay, this team, I mean, do you have some big database? Well, they've struggled against, you know, the pitchers that throw between 84 and 87. I don't know how much.
We do look at it, right? And you look at, okay, well, you know, we've beat Cali, we've played Cloud, we've played Hutch, we've played Coffeyville, we played Fort Scott last year, we played KCK. You know, we've played 4 of the 8 teams in there, 4 of the 7 teams in there, and so we have a pretty good feel in terms of how their lineups are created and what's worked and what hasn't worked, and so that's what we kind of go off of, you know, and so there is a little bit of detailed scouting that goes into, hey, how many left-handed hitters, left-handed pitcher, you know, what's the best matchup, and trying to make decisions based on that.
Coffeyville, you've seen them. Just played a doubleheader with them. They've had a pretty nice season, really.
Yeah. You know, they kind of broke through this year. They always play really, really hard, and they play really good baseball. They play good defense, and they manufacture a lot of runs, and they try and speed you up, kind of a lot like we do. But they play hard. And Coach Martin played with me and Coach McBride at Barton, and for whatever reason, we've had some battles in the last 4 or 5 years, and I will say this, 2 weeks ago when we played, it was, I don't know what word I'm looking for, but I don't think either team really likes the other team.
Chippy.
Yes, very much so, and so it'll be a very interesting first-round game.
Okay, so you've been doing this a while now. Mm-hmm. I mean, you've gone into this week now a lot.
Yep.
And you've got your right hand or left hand man that's been done the same thing. Mm-hmm. So does that make it easier just where you don't get in maybe like your first or second year? I don't know if you did it or not, but where all of a sudden you're maybe managing different than you did in a regular season. I mean,
you try and be consistent, you know, and in the playoffs, you know, in this tournament, we've gotten out early, we've made a run deep, and we've won it, you know, and I think the biggest thing is you got to make sure everyone's ready. It's got to be all hands on deck, and you got to get really good starts, you know, on the mound, and that's the key to it is if you're number 1 or you're game 1 or game 2 and that guy goes out and lays an egg early and you got to kind of unload the bullpen, it's going to be really hard to make your way through that thing, and we just kind of manage it the way we do all year. Let's win this game right here and not worry about the next one, and then whatever's left for the next one, we'll use those guys. And, you know, if we ever run out, we'll run out. But I just think that you prepare and you play to win the game that you're playing and worry about tomorrow, and that's just kind of the strategy we've gone into it. Now, we'll see if we stick to it, but that's kind of how we approach it.
Travel there and come back, or are you just going to stay there?
We're going to stay. You know, we play tomorrow, so we'll leave tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, I think the experience of the tournament is cool as well.
Absolutely.
And so we're going to get there a little early so they can kind of get a feel for some of the early games. And then, you know, if we lose, we play at 1. If we win, we play at 7. You know, so we'll have some time to get out and watch. And I just think a cool experience for those guys to see all the scouts in the stands and the other teams and the atmosphere, because there isn't a tournament like this one around.
Kind of feel bad it's not at Eck, though, you know? I mean, it's
Salina, I mean, you just can't, who's going to, Dean Evans, you know, I lost a state championship on that field, so I got some bad memories, right? But that was natural, so.
Yeah, well, you can wash it away now.
Yeah, I just wait. I mean, there was no better place than Dumont back in the day, you know, and going out there. But Wichita's worked well. You know, we had Manhattan a couple years ago, and I really liked the Manhattan feel. So we actually didn't make it the last time it was in Salina. So it'll be interesting to see what the feel like is. But with 8 teams in that park, I feel like it'll be a pretty good atmosphere.
Okay, go time. How do you feel right now?
Feel good. You know, win game 1 and find a way to win that one, and then kind of piece it together. But like I said, we've played, you know, over half the field and have a good feel for, you know, the other teams in it. So, like I told our guys, I mean, we're the 1 seed. We've had success, and, you know, it's about us, you know, and what we make of it. And if we play well, we're going to beat anybody. And if we don't, we're not going to be there very long. So,
go time. Also, don't turn around. Jim's wearing a really bright yellow shirt that we came in here. So.
I thought maybe he was in a Coffeyville shirt or something.
Oh, no. He wouldn't have one of them birds on. Yeah. I'll tell you that.
Yep.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, Brent Biggs with us here on Sports Day. More of the show coming up.
From the Mail Money Management Studios, 1590 KVGB, Gray Bend, and 95.5 FM K238CK, Hoisington.
Hey everyone, this is Cole Wright, voice of the Barton Cougars. Attending sporting events for Barton Community College is great, but did you know you can support the athletic teams even further by getting involved with the Cougar Booster Club? The Boosters help with fundraising for equipment and facility upgrades to give Barton athletes every opportunity to keep succeeding at the regional and national levels. Join the Cougar Booster Club as an individual or business. Call 620-792-9377. Become a booster today. Go Cougars.
Ready for a fresh start? This spring, Equity Bank is here to help you bloom into better banking with a $300 bonus. Receive $300 when you open a new Equity Bank checking account and use code FRESH, either in person or online. It's the perfect way to reset your routine and refresh your finances. Visit equitybank.com/fresh for full details and start your season strong. At Equity Bank, they never forget it's your money. Member FDIC.
When it comes to car maintenance, it's good to know a local guy that can get things done. The Eller family has been in the auto repair business in Great Bend forever. Greg Eller continues that long tradition of helping people. Eller Automotive Repair specializes in wheel alignments, oil changes, and general maintenance for all makes and models of cars and small trucks. Open 8 to 5 Monday through Thursday, 8 to 4 Fridays. Eller Automotive Repair at 915 Morton, right behind Great Bend Appliance, Furniture, and Sleep Source, 10th and Morton.
He's passionate about his high school sports and his trendy sports apparel. Sports Day presents the Gray Bend Tribune's Jim Masunas.
Doggone right. Sports Day today brought to you by Animal Medical Center. Large or small, they take care of them all. Freedom Claims Management, innovative healthcare plans for your business. Let them take care of everything for you from start to finish. Continued support. They have you covered. You don't have any, there's no logo on that shirt today, but it is a bright yellow, Jim.
Yeah, I could coach first or third with this shirt on and wave them through.
You know, stand out in the highway or something. I don't know. Jim Masunas is in with us today. We're just talking during the break. Love talking baseball with Brent Biggs. It's just easy conversation, and he knows his stuff. It's just a good time.
Yeah, and he has some kind of amazing recall of all the stats and all the scouting and all the film he watches, because he pulls up, oh yeah, this guy, they've got a number 1 pitcher. Yeah, they got a couple of good arms. He said Dodge City has some bats. Well, sure enough, they found that out. So it's amazing what those coaches and the degree that they go to into detail, because you never know who you're going to play in that postseason.
So you're very impressed with Landon Winkler's job title.
Yeah,
executive
producer. Yeah,
he's just not a producer. He's an executive producer.
Yes,
he's on a level up. Yes, it just shows you the responsibility that he has. Basically, if things do not go right, it's Landon's fault. So, see, that's why you get executive producer thrown in front of there.
And executive scapegoat.
Yeah, that's probably true.
No, you're a scapegoat. You don't get an executive title to scapegoat. Okay. All right. This last week of the season's turned into an interesting time. Let's start with Panther baseball first. So they go to McPherson and beat McPherson 15-0, and then they return about 3 weeks, something like that later, and they don't score a run and get beat 5-0. So still some work to be done now at 17-5 in the 5A West standings, and you're looking at a Manhattan team that's number 2 in 6A West standings that you have to face coming up on Wednesday at the Great Bend Sports Complex. Big doubleheader coming up on Wednesday.
Yeah, that's what cost them home field last year. They split a doubleheader with Manhattan, dropped from 4 to 5, went on the road and lost extra inning game. It's big to play at home site. It's a huge advantage. Great Bend softball, they've lost all their games on the road. They're undefeated at home. Great Bend baseball, very good home field advantage. So they're going to win 2 out of 4. You would like to take care of business Wednesday and play a couple exhibition games Friday. You don't really want to lose both. You'll have to go to Garden City, win both to get your home field. You want to win at least one. You'd love to win 2. They win 2, they're good scot-free. They play a couple exhibition games Friday at Garden City.
Now, those games are not going to be exhibition games, okay, because Hayes still has to go to Liberal on Thursday. I'm not giving up hope on that.
Is Kappelman coming back to pitch? They got a shot. If not,
they almost beat him in Hayes. They got off to a good start. Plus, you got to go all the way to Liberal. I still think if there's any sprinkles at all or any green on the radar, Thursday, Hayes said, "No, the weather's too bad. We're not going to be able to make it down there. We can't make that game up."
Yeah, it's an extra. It's an extra hour. Maybe it's not an extra hour, but it's a long ways to Liberal.
Okay, Great Bend Lady Panthers. I was excited about seeing how they'd match up. McPherson's really good. Undefeated, and then, of course,
Carrie Minton cringed when she heard that. She just cringed, and she knew.
I put it. Okay, I'll wear it if it's my fault. It's my fault.
Yeah.
But Newton beats them 13-9, and Newton I think's 9-13 or something like that. Now you have your chance at revenge, which they need to take care of on Thursday when they face them twice here. But theirs, I think they win the doubleheader. They'll be fine.
They're in. Yeah, they got to win both. So to be assured of that, and what better situation than just having lost to them, gaining instant respect when they scored 13 runs off your top 2 pitchers, and you're playing at home. So I think Great Bend has a short memory here, or a long memory. They don't remember what happened last week.
That was the last thing I thought was going to happen.
Yeah, it just shows you that, again, it wasn't like Newton had a great pitching staff. They gave up a bunch of runs, but they scored 13, and they were legit. It wasn't like, Great Bend made a couple errors, but, they had double-digit hits, so they certainly deserved to win that game.
So how's this? Because I think people look, well, the WAC, it's, softball, they might have a good record, but they're not going to do it. And then you look at who's sitting on the top of the 6A West standings in softball. Garden City.
Garden City's legit. They've got a legit hitter and a legit pitcher. And
they beat them like a drum.
Yeah, I know. It was amazing. It was amazing softball for those 6 games against Hayes and Garden City. And when your team is dialed in and they understand it's league, and league means something, you find out a lot about your team. And what Kerry Minton found out is, man, my team is right where I want them to be. We're ready. We're playing a team that we really want to beat, and we have no love lost for. So let's beat them and beat them bad. So they took care of business.
Okay, Thursday, Great Bend Lady Panthers against Newton at the Sports Complex. Great Bend and Manhattan at the Sports Complex on Wednesday. And then Friday, Great Bend baseball rolling out their final 2 games of the year, and a chance to get a piece of the Western Athletic Conference title after Liberal knocks off Hayes in that single game on Thursday. So,
well, that'll be an advantage. They'll know what's at stake. Like I said, I'm sure that Randy Beck is hoping for that they lose and that they win 2 Wednesday against Manhattan, and then they can just do whatever they want. They can try and win a couple games and get a share of the title, or they can worry about postseason. So it'll be an interesting dilemma.
Okay, so we will have both those doubleheaders. Let's see, what do we have? We got that.
Wednesday baseball.
Wednesday baseball, Thursday softball on B104.3 The Point. All right, what else you looking
Well,
at?
the interesting thing for Hoisington Central Plains is they go up to 4A for baseball, softball. Softball's 4th seed right now. However, today in Hoisington, 4 o'clock, 23-1 Hayes TMP. Guess what the Cardinals have to do? They have to win both.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'll go on the road to Brewer. So, boy, you talk about a tough challenge. A 23-1 team that split with Hayes High. So, hey, if Hoisington plays their best, they're going to be fine. They do anything less than that, they're going to lose a game or two. So, but it's a challenge because this is the kind of game that you want to play to get ready for postseason. So, Coach Boxberger and company, it'll be an interesting doubleheader at Hoisington today.
What are some other things you're looking at right now?
Well, again, Hoisington baseball is in good. They're sitting with a 15-7 record, 13-7, and Lawrence 15-7. So they're both 7, 8, 9, and both with winning records, and they'll both face comparable competition in the first game. Then they'll have to play a really good team in the second round. So you really don't want to be in the 8-9 slot with McPherson. So you're better off being 7-10. If you're 7-10, that means Larned and Hoisington could play each other. So they're both sitting good, and Ellenwood softball is 12-12, and they're going to be the 4th seed. So I'm not sure whether I haven't looked that closely to see whether you play home sites or you play everything at one site. I'm not sure about 2A baseball softball. It may be home sites for baseball, and you go to Spearville for softball. So I haven't looked that up, but Ellenwood. Boys and girls are both potentially the 4th seed, and at least wear a certain color uniform whatever the higher seed wears, so at the very least.
And what dugout you're in.
Yeah, and what dugout you're in, that makes a big difference. So, in state tennis, all the 3A, 1A schools, Central Plains got their whole team in, 2 singles, 2 doubles, and Hoisington Cardinals. Great job by Coach Jordan Mooney over there at Hoisington. He gets a couple freshmen who said, who are these Pulaski guys? They must be those foreign exchange students from Lithuania or something. No, they're freshmen.
They're just northwest of Susanko. It's a small community.
Okay, but anyway, so they all underclassmen for Hoisington Cardinals. All 6 get to state too. So what a neat deal. Central Plains gets 6, Hoisington gets 6, Ellenwood gets 2. So you get all those entries into the state tournament at Topeka. That's going to be a lot of fun for the local Central Kansas League. And, Central Plains certainly has a shot at, they don't have a shot at collegiate. No one does, but they certainly could get a trophy. You got to be top 3. And then Hoisington, heck, get everybody back for next year. They're going to go out and try and win a few matches. So,
okay, the WAC swim meet is Thursday. Now, Great Bend has dominated this over the years. Can they do it again?
No, they don't have enough depth. They've got some good quality. They got all the relays qualified for state, but now Garden City and Hayes.
Now they've gone toe to toe with Hayes this year, but they've been in the bigger meets.
Yeah,
it's hard when you don't have the numbers at a small 5 because they rack up numbers like expensive gas on a pump.
Oh yeah, it's just crazy. You get 40 points for a win, and then you get like 39 for second and third. I mean, it's not 39, but it goes 40, 36, 32 or something. But I never see these points are like 500. How the heck did they get 572 points? And you start looking through the points awarded. Sweden has their own way of doing that. So there's a lot of points to be had. But hopefully they can maybe keep getting some top performances for the year and get the relays ready to go for the state meet in a week.
Okay, real quick here. Connor Nickel and me had a good discussion. We were going to talk about softball and baseball, and they got off on formats and things like that. What do you think about that? Playing, instead of you have a Final Four for baseball and softball, and kind of do what they're doing in basketball, where I like that because you don't have bullpen games when you get to the state tournament, especially for baseball.
It can be that way. I don't like the concept. The state looks like it's going to a concept of, hey, let's just bring 4 teams to state for basketball. I think it's a disaster. Your goal is to get to the state tournament. When May South played Great Bend in volleyball in 2020, They went to May South for a state tournament game. Well, it wasn't a state tournament game. It had nothing to do with the state tournament other than that one team was going to go to the Final Four. You're guaranteed 3 matches when you go to the state volleyball tournament. Coach Duval said there was no state atmosphere. They didn't feel like they were in the state tournament. It was just another match. It was a match to go to the Final Four, but it had no atmosphere. It was just a home game for May South. And so I'm not saying basketball is going to be a complete disaster, but it's not going to be what it was. If you qualified for 1A basketball and you won numerous games, made it to Dodge City or Hayes or wherever that format, Manhattan, wherever you might go, you made your year. Your whole town went there. I don't think your whole town's going to go to McPherson or Buter for a neutral site game to go to the state tournament site. Like I said, I'm not predicting a disaster, but I think it's a flawed idea.
I don't know. I kind of like Final Fours, and that's what we've set ourselves up for. But it's back in my day, sub-state was huge. If you got to a sub-state game, I was just like playing a state tournament, especially because it's so hard to get there.
Yeah, the old format when there was just 1A was really interesting because when Central Plains and Little River got to the state tournament 4 consecutive years, they played the regional, and then they mopped up in the sub-state. They won every game by 20, 30, 40 plus points, both made to the state tournament. So back in the day, the 1A format was extremely good because the best teams tended to get to the state tournament as far as a regional format because Central Plains and Little River easily got to the state girls basketball tournament 4 consecutive years.
Plus, I know you'll like this because, hey, if you got a 7-team regional and you got a first-round bye, you got to win. And then if you got a sub-state, you got a first-round bye, you got another win. That's 2 more wins.
Oh, yeah. I love that. I love that. You talk about, the Acacia's gotten down to like a bare minimum of silly, stupid things they do. But that's still at the top of my list. Is you don't get a win for a bye in a game you don't play. It's not a win.
I just love poking the bear. Yeah. Well, Jim, I'll talk to you next week. Jim Mizutis, Great Bend Tribune, here with us on Sports Day.
This is Hadley.
Hadley, what's going on? I've been trying to call you for the past half hour.
Well, Papa, ever since you started this big sale, the phones have been like crazy.
That's a good thing, Hadley. And didn't I ask you to name the sale?
I did. It's a sale. It's so good you won't believe it.
Oh, Hadley, it is so good you won't believe it.
C&E Doors is offering steel on both sides 9x7 white doors for the same price as vinyl backliner doors. Call today.
Great teachers start with a great education. At Barton Community College, our education programs give you the skills and experience to make a real impact in the classroom. Whether you're shaping young minds in early childhood education or leading the way in elementary or secondary education, Barton makes it easy to follow your passion with affordable tuition, flexible courses, and real-world learning. Get started at education.bartonccc.edu because your classroom is waiting.
Extend the life of your equipment with the best warranty program and risk management tool in the agriculture industry. The Cenex Total Protection Plan covers new and used equipment. Receive up to 10 years or 10,000 hours of engine coverage when you use Cenex Ruby Fieldmaster Premium Diesel Fuel and synthetic lubricants. With no deductible, the Cenex Total Protection Plan provides unmatched coverage to give you the power you need to keep your business running like a well-oiled machine. Contact American Plains Co-op Fuel Department in Great Bend, your certified Cenex distributor, today.
Dr. Keelan here at Animal Medical Center. We're bringing in the savings this May. Get 20% off all Science Diet dog and cat food and treats. No coupon needed when you're here. Prescription diets are not included in this, but stock up and save big, but hurry. Stop by Animal Medical Center before May 31st to get your pets the high quality nutrition they deserve. Our team is ready to help you with all your pet care needs. Large or small, we take care of them all.
Baseball Tonight, the podcast.
This is the Baseball Tonight podcast for Monday, May 12th, 2025, and today will be better than yesterday. I'm Buster Olney, working from my hotel room in Cleveland. Taylor Schwink is... Where are you, Taylor, today?
Strong Island Buster. I'm legitimately under the covers right now, in a bedroom in my in-laws, because that's the only place I can use my baseball voice right now, as you like to say.
Yeah, baseball voice is something that my kids, they've used that phrase often, and you're right. You know, there's only some certain places you can politely use your baseball voice. But we should start with this. The day after the Rockies lost 21-0 to the San Diego Padres, they fired manager Bud Black. The Rockies are off to a Major League Worst 7-33 start, even after winning on Sunday. Third base coach Warren Schaefer will serve as interim manager for the rest of the season. Clint Hurdle, their hitting coach, will be the interim bench coach. They also fired bench coach Mike Redmond. I find the whole thing to be silly, but you know what? Who cares what I think? Ask Kyle Freeland, the Rockies starting pitcher, about the firing of Black and Redmond.
A lot of different emotions right now. You know, I've been with Buddy and Red my entire career up to this point. Manager, bench coach, both great guys. I got nothing but great things to say about them. They've been in my corner my entire career. I love both those guys to death, and I'll be in contact with them for, you know, hopefully the rest of my life. But, you know, clearly, you know, some changes needed to be made. To see if we can start turning this thing around, get going in a new direction, and get some traction and start going as a team.
The firing of Black happens just a few days after the Pirates fired a manager. They became the first team to fire a manager during the 2025 season when they fired Derek Shelton. Taylor, I don't know you, but when I read the statement from owner Bob Nutting about urgency, and saying that that's the reason why they're making this change, I just, it cracked me up because it's a team that spends no money.
No money. They suppressed Paul Skeens in the minors. I like Paul Skeens' attitude afterwards. Really, he was like, well, someone had to take the fall. We suck. Like, this is not a good situation. So, unfortunate for Derek, but silliness from Bob Nutting. Come on, man. Get it. Like, what planet are you living on?
Yeah, no kidding. Now, since our last podcast, Red Sox owner John Henry flew to Kansas City to meet with Rafael Devers after Devers was very outspoken, saying he wouldn't move to first base, and he was critical of the front office. I got to say, this is one, too, that just confuses me. During this process, an evaluator said to me, I don't understand why he's not already taking grounders at first base and third base before any of this came up with Tristan Casas and his injury. This is the highest paid player in the organization. He's on a 10-year, $313.5 million contract. And I got to say, if you ask people around baseball, and I'm going to ask David Cohn and Carl Ravitch and Eduardo Perez how they feel about it, you ask people around baseball, they think it's ludicrous that a player basically refused to change positions.
You signed the contract, man. The checks are clearing. Your life is good. Like, sorry you have to play a different position. Like, if they told him to go scrub the baseballs for what he's making, he should do it happily. He's being a huge diva about this, and it's tearing Red Sox fans apart, which I am enjoying watching. But, hopefully for the team, they can figure out a resolution to all this nonsense.
I loved what Kevin Millar said. I don't know if you saw him on Intentional Talk the other day. He said that if when Devers was in negotiation for that $313.5 million deal, if the Red Sox had said, oh, by the way, if we suffer a catastrophic injury at first base and then you were asked to change positions, you're going to be okay with that? What do you think Devers would say before he signs the contract? Absolutely. Here's the crazy thing. Yeah, here's the crazy thing is that throughout all this, okay, he just keeps on hitting it. 4 hits on Saturday. Here's what he did on Sunday.
One time, and Devers drives one high and deep into center field. It is back! It is gone! Straight away center! Adios, Carita! 2-run bomb, and it's 3-1 Red Sox.
And that was the final score of that from WEEI 93.7 FM. Meanwhile, the Twins are streaking. This is the Twins against the Giants, walking it off.
Swung on, hit down the third base line, and that's a game winner. Brooks Lee scores, and Deshaun Kersey's third hit of the season is a game-winning line to the left as the Twins walk off the Giants on Mother's Day, win their 8th in a row, and have a winning record for the first time all season long.
They're the only team surging. The St. Louis Cardinals have been in an absolute roll, and on Sunday, Nolan Arenado played a hand in that.
Nolan Arenado swings, and he drives one to left field. That is hit back to the track near the wall. It's out of here! And the Cardinals lead 6-1 in Washington, D.C.
That was the final score. John Rooney on the Cardinals Radio Network. And on Sunday Night Baseball, as I mentioned, the Phillies and the Guardians, and Kyle Schwarber got the Phillies started in the top of the second inning.
And Schwarber clubs one to deep right field, way back, and that one is gone. What a shot from Kyle Schwarber. His 13th of the year in Philadelphia with a 1-0 lead.
Well, in Philadelphia, they call those Schwarber bombs.
Yeah, that's what he did there. Luis Ortiz pitched for the Guardians. He was pretty good, but Schwarber got him there. Zach Wheeler was dominant for the Phillies.
Wheeler set. The 0-2. Tried to check his swing. He went around on appeal. Santana's down on strikes. And Wheeler gets out of a first and second one-out jam.
And Kyle Schwarber applied the coup de grace in the 8th inning.
Here's the pitch. Schwarber swings, drives it high and deep, center field. Doyle back, track, wall, it's gone! Off the ivy of the batter's eye. Kyle Schwarber with his 3rd home run of the season. It's 4-1 Phillies.
So you heard there, in order, Mike Farron, Ruben Amaro on ESPN Radio, Scott Fransky on the Phillies Radio Network, Kyle Schwarber, career homer number 298. The Phillies win 3-0.
Solo Baseball Tonight podcast. Buster Olney with you here on the Monday edition of Sports Day. Again, Lyle Slash will be back coming up on Wednesday. He's on a field trip to Sternberg today with his students. You know, math teacher, probably throws a little science in there on top of that. He cooks frog legs. He can, coach track and field, does it all. And Lyles Lash will be with us coming up on the program. Tomorrow's show, be sure to tune in as we will talk Great Bend Panther baseball. Randy Beck and assorted players will be in. Cole Reif will be in as well. And we'll talk Panther swimming, head coach Jade Winter and the Great Bend Lady Panthers. Back to wrap up today's show right after this.
Central and Western Kansas residents, are you looking for a new vehicle? Marmy Auto Group can make it happen. Marmy Auto Group includes Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep and Ram, Chevrolet, and GMC. Marmy Auto Group, your Central and Western Kansas dealer, has new and pre-owned vehicles, or we can special order your vehicle today. If your existing vehicle needs serviced, Marmy's award-winning service department can help. Come to Marmy Auto Group on 10th or marmys.net. Marmys, make it happen.
It's all here at Great Bend Rec.
Sports, leisure, fitness and wellness, even senior and adaptive needs. It's all here at Great Bend Rec. Pick up a program guide or stop by the rec office at 1214 Stone in Great Bend. Or check out the website, greatbendrec.com. Live, play, explore at the rec.
It's all here at Great Bend Rec. Live, play, explore at the rec.
Ready for a fresh start? This spring, Equity Bank is here to help you bloom into better banking with a $300 bonus. Receive $300 when you open a new Equity Bank checking account and use code FRESH, either in person or online. It's the perfect way to reset your routine and refresh your finances. Visit equitybank.com/fresh for full details and start your season strong at Equity Bank. They never forget it's your money. Member FDIC.
Yeah, this is a big close. I told you. I'll be back to wrap up the show, literally doing that right now. We will be back with the Tuesday Sports Day show tomorrow right here on 1590 KVGB.